Gildan Media presents Your Coach in a Box, affordable, life-changing audio programs.
Comeback: America's New Economic Boom by Charles R. Morris. Narrated by Timothy Andres Pabon. Introduction. I wrote a book called The Coming Global Boom, released in 1990, that pointed to the very bright prospects for the new decade: higher productivity, falling interest rates, an expanding finance and trading sector, and a recovery of leadership in computer technology. This was a very gloomy period, much like now. Good economists like Stephen Maris and C. Fred Bergston at the International Economic Institute in Washington worried that the government's persistent deficits were about to ignite a worldwide recession. The economist novelist Paul Erdman had a string of bestsellers with names like The Panic of '89. As a corporate banker and a business consultant, I was in and around a lot of different companies. I began to notice that most senior managers were in their 40s and that they were sitting atop hordes of bright, ambitious 30-year-olds with almost no hope of ever moving up the executive ranks. I personally knew at least a dozen of them who left their companies to start a business. Any business. I started to run numbers on demographics and found some insightful academic work, especially by Richard Easterlin. Ed Yardeni was the rare economist who was thinking the same way. The 30-year-olds of the 1980s were the same baby boomers who had depressed labor markets in the 1970s, but in the 1990s were entering the time of life when people settle down, get very productive, start saving. They had small families, and the generation of senior citizens was small as well. Play those shifts through the financial and housing and consumer goods markets, and the new decade took on a real glow. The icing on the cake was that the United States had a near monopoly position in the microprocessor technology that triggered the desktop and business server revolution. Economists sometimes over-focus on things with clean numbers. To explain the burst of business formation in the 1980s, most economists, especially conservative ones, point to a 1978 capital gains tax reduction, not a logjam of frustrated young talent trapped in corporate dead ends. Today, the X factor isn't demographics. It's the energy boom. Unless something goes horribly wrong.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?